Welcome to Barrio Voices, where we highlight the voices of our barrios, familias, and communities. This is Velas, and I hope you're having a good one. Sit back and enjoy la plática. Órale. Now, welcome back to another great episode of Barrio Voices. It's my pleasure to be a host for y'all today. Again, we're doing this from the bottom of our hearts, making sure that our community gets to hear all the empowering stories of our own barrios, Today's special guest is Leslie Madrigal. She's following the steps of her two older siblings who are also taking on political leadership roles within the community, right? As school board members, as city council members, and different roles that are really going to influence how our community does in the future, right? Near future and the long-term future as well. And our conversation basically is going to entail a little bit more about like having a seat at the table, right? Making sure that that table represents our own community, making sure that we have representation in different roles within our community, not just in leadership roles, right, where it's like political leadership roles, right, but in other spaces, right, like as teachers, as doctors, as different roles that again we yet to really see ourselves fully in. So again, make sure that we bring that representation, make sure that we encourage others that whatever their dreams are, si se puede, what I mean. And again, much love to everybody tuning in, and I just want to hope you all having a great day. But enough said, DJ Velas, go ahead, hit the rolla,
So my name is Leslie Madrigal. I am currently pursuing a master's degree in public policy and administration from Cal Lutheran University in Thousand Oaks. I also completed my undergrad from Cal Lutheran in May of 2020, where I double majored in criminal justice and Spanish. I am from Oxnard, California. I'm the youngest of four siblings. Two of my older siblings also attended Cal Lutheran for their undergrad and their graduate studies, so I'm following in their footsteps. A little bit just like about my family background. Both of my parents came here from Mexico, so I am a first generation college student. Both of my parents have always instilled the importance of education to my siblings and I greatly value that. Currently, my brother sits on the Oxnard City Council, and my sister sits on the Oxnard School District, which serves K through 8 students. I really hope to follow in their footsteps and hopefully run for local office in the near future. I'm not exactly sure to what extent, but I really do plan on running in the near future. I also really hope to work with youth in a prevention program, just because while I was in undergrad, I worked with kids who were at risk of gang recruitment, and they were first through fifth graders. And I feel like working with them really helped me realize that that's what I wanted to do in the future.
Hearing you just talk about it so casually also makes me feel it's even so much empowered because for me, like I do have one cousin, but it's a cousin that it's kind of like a long cousin, right? But this cousin is the Rebecca, right? She's also a city council member for Gilroy, for a city nearby from where I live. And so to hear her about her, I'm like, oh damn, I do have family that's doing something like that. And so to me, it's really surprising. But for you to be, it's like, oh, my brother, my sister, they're doing this. I'll be doing this in the future. It's again very reassuring that we have this within ourselves as community members, as people of color, right? That we also could be in those places where our voice really does matter so much more, right? To you, what does that mean? Like, what does that mean? Like, I would just imagine, like, it's not so many of us that could say that so casually. So to you, what does that mean to you?
I feel like I'm the type of person who believes a lot that representation matters, just like obviously it does. And I feel like seeing like my siblings as public officials, like that makes it even to like a bigger extent. I feel like especially just because within like the city council and the school district, they're divided by districts. So I know that our city council has become more diverse here in Oxnard over the years, as well as like our school district. I mean, currently the school district that my sister sits on, it's all Latina women. So like I like that's really important to me. And I feel that living in a city that is primarily people of color, that's really important for like everybody of all ages to see, including like kids. And I feel that seeing somebody who looks like you is really important in high positions of power, just because I feel that a lot of the time, a lot of kids say like, oh, I want to be like a teacher or even like a doctor, but I've never seen somebody who looks presented in that way. And like, for example, my siblings, like even though they're on city council and on the school board, my brother's a teacher and my sister's a counselor. And I feel that just like even that representation is just like really important, like especially to me, just because I feel that I love to see people who look like me like take on these positions and like really like reflect change within our communities.
Yeah, I think when you select representation and the way that it really influences who we are, that really, yeah, it makes me reflect on my own experience when I was an undergrad, and just thinking about like how there's not so many people like me that, like I guess have like someone that has grew up like more like in the hood side of like the city, right? And like goes to college and see hood kids out there, right? So like for me, it's like a very big culture shock where I have to be a lot more professional and polite, I would say, right? And like have a different kind of language and everything. So yes, the fact that I ran into one of my homies that created a big bond with, right? Is the in college, to me it made me really see myself. I was like, oh, you know what? I could actually graduate. He graduated, I could graduate too then, And it made me like just move forward even more, right? It made me have the las ganas to actually accomplish it and the vision for it too. So I could actually foresee myself doing something like that. And so you having those siblings, right? It allows you to kind of vision the path, right? But also for others, you know, you kind of talked about already, like what it means for others to actually see more representation within their community, within the different roles. Why is that, or how did it become important to you to begin with? I know, like you said, it was important for you, but when did you start realizing this is something that it needed to be addressed, the representation of our own community?
I feel that like growing up, like I always saw people who look like me, like my classmates and stuff. And then when I went to college, just kind of how you said, like culture shock, like even though Thousand Oaks is like 20 to 30 minutes away from where I live, like I lived on campus and I remember like seeing the way that they were used to life versus the way I was used to life was just like really like eye-opening to me. And just like going to classes. And I remember my freshman year of college was the year that Trump got elected. So that was like I remember like just like seeing the day after he got elected, like obviously the university I attend is like more liberal, but there was still like a lot of people who were like cheering on. And I feel like that's when it like really hit me. And just when I did the internship program when I was an undergrad, I worked with kids who like underprivileged kids who lived in the Thousand Oaks area. And I feel that I'm not sure if you're familiar with the Thousand Oaks area or where it's like a predominantly white neighborhood. So I feel like a lot of the time, like people don't think that there's like low income families that live in the city. And I feel that working with the kids just like really opened my eyes to it. And I saw a lot of myself in the kids. And I remember the kids went to go take a tour of my university. And even though the university was like 10 minutes away from where they live, like they didn't even know there was a university there. And I remember working, like seeing them after they went on the tour, they're like, oh, I want to go there when I graduate from high school. And I felt like that just really like excited them. And I feel like it goes back to like representation. Like they're like, oh, I want to be like you and I want to go there, sort of thing, just because I feel like they were never exposed down that path.
Yeah, I agree. I think also like, so when I was an undergrad too, I really want to be a teacher because of similar reasons. Like there's not too many teachers that really reflect my identity. And so that was one of the reasons why I was like, you know what, graduating, I want to be a teacher, I want to do this and that. Of course, that's not the path that I ended up taking, but it's something that I was always considering. And just so yeah, and just like the fact that you're also trying to do something like that for our community, right, to empower them too. Like, you know what, for different reasons, I want to be at a school board member. I want to be a school board member. I want to be this and that. Taking on those positions of power, right? It's the based off your own experiences. So like, we always want to like fill in the representation, those gaps, right? Those places that needs to be filled, right? With more people like us, right? And so, we always have like this different aspirations of like, okay, I want to fill in this gap right here in education. I want to fill up this gap right here in counseling. to you, why is it or what made you really want to fill in the gaps within like yeah, or even like just your family, it's your siblings, what made you all kind of like encouraged to, take on those city council board as the members or things like that. We really encourage y'all to do that.
I feel that like just kind of like going back, like we're first generation students, and I always feel that like how I said how my parents always instilled the importance of education in us. And I remember like when I was little and when the three of us were, I mean, there's a big age gap between me and my siblings. My brother's 14 years older than me and my sister's 10 years older than me. So a lot of people always think that they're my parents. But when we were younger, like my parents always like took the three of us to work with them. And I feel like whether like we didn't have school or like during like breaks and stuff. So I feel like they instilled the importance of like working hard. And I always just like think back as to my mom, my dad works in construction and mom like cleans houses. So I remember my brother, them always saying the story of how when my brother used to go to work with my mom, they were working in the houses that were near where Cal Lutheran is. And my brother would tell my mom, I'm gonna go to school there one day. And he ended up going there. And I feel that just like, and then me and my sister following along that path and going to school there too. And I feel just like I remember when I was in high school was the first time my brother ran for city council. And although he didn't win, like I didn't understand the process. I was just like a 14-year-old, just like of course I was helping him, but I didn't fully understand like the process of everything. And then I remember when both my brother and my sister ran in 2016 and they both won. And by that time I was a freshman in college, so I was helping them out more and I understood more about what was going on. And just like the fact of like we would go knock at people's houses and they'd be like, oh, why should I vote for this person? And just like having to educate myself to that extent, like, and they're like, okay, why am I going to listen to this 18-year-old telling me who to vote for? But I feel like just like those experiences, and I feel that I feel like just like me, both of my siblings are really big on giving back to the community. And I know that we wouldn't be the people that we are without the community who helped us while we were growing up. I remember both of my parents like dropping us off at my aunt's house at like 5:30 in the morning, and my aunt used to take care of us, and just things like that like really helped us knit within the community and like learn how important community is, whether that's like your neighborhood or like your city or just like your little bubble of like your friends, like just learning how important that is in the long run. I hope that
Yeah.
answered your question.
No, it does. It does. I think not only that, but it continues to enhance like the purpose of building community. Not only do we build communities to feel like we have a safe space, but we build community because together as a network, we understand each other's story a lot more. We know how to advocate for each other much more, and we know how to like stay just function together. And so to me, yeah, the way the answer to the question is couldn't be any better. Pero yeah, I think my only last questions or my last kind of yeah, like the pathways of the conversation that I want to take it to is more about like for others that are tuning in too, like we are, I think for most of the listeners, they're all tuning in because they're already empowered. They're already like, want to tune in because there's going to be some good palabra, good guidance in terms of like, all right, cool. This episode is going to teach me a little bit more about a pathway that I could possibly take. This is a way that I could possibly get back to my community. For those that want to be in city council, advisory meetings or any kind of again, like I refer to as positions of power. I don't know if there's other vocabulary for it, but for those people that want to, be in a school board or any kind of sort of seat like that, what would you advise them to do, or what are some things that you would like for them to know as they begin thinking about these kind of things?
I obviously don't have the experience of running myself like or anything, but just like seeing like my siblings and just like seeing other people within my community run. I mean, like just as an example, there was this girl who ran for my local high school board and she had just graduated from high school. And I just think things like that are really like important to see, and seeing people just kind of going back, like seeing people who like look like you and like people who are close to your age too, especially because I feel that sometimes you're so young that people say like, why am I going to trust this person who's like younger than me to like make decisions that will affect me, sort of thing. But I think like some advice that I would give is to just like really like get out of your comfort zone and like be open to new things. I feel that like I really learned that a lot during undergrad, and obviously I'm still learning that right now. When I like during my undergrad, I had like, thanks to the opportunities that I was provided, I was able to travel to Sacramento and DC and Chicago, and I didn't have to pay anything. And I went to go talk to like assembly members and like senators and congress members. And like, I feel that that also like helped me a lot more with like public speaking, because obviously like I couldn't be like quiet about things. But I feel like just being open to new opportunities and taking your chances. And I feel that just kind of looking at the positive aspects of things and like how greatly they'll impact you in the long run, especially like networking wise.
I appreciate that. I think that that's all very important key steps to take when considering actually any kind of pathway. You always think about like the opportunities around you, what opportunities will yield you the most growth as an individual, as a professional, and so on. And so I'm really glad again that you come and again bring that kind of a perspective into this archive of different voices, right? Of different people that have been on the podcast. Again, I've been seeing your work since a while now, so like I mentioned earlier, it's an honor to now have you on the podcast. I'm really excited to continue seeing you grow in the different areas that you want to grow, and I think you definitely are going to be, your whole family is definitely going to be change makers for your community big time. Hopefully, we later see murals of you all together or something. But yeah, any last words you want to share with the audience, or any last words you want to leave with the episode? Is all open floor to you right now.
Yeah, I mean, I think I would just say kind of to like obviously like follow your dreams, and just like no matter how like big they may seem, like I would say like anything's possible. And I also feel that just because like just kind of like how I said, like representation obviously matters. I know that sometimes there's like certain like whether it be like jobs or like schools or just things along those lines where like you don't see people who look like you. Like you yourself can be like that change maker. I know that's obviously easier said than done, but it's like obviously like possible. And I think that something that I also really value, just because I really like enjoy my time and like working with youth, is just like remembering that like the youth are like our future, and they're going to be the future leaders of like the state and like the country and everything. So to always just believe in the youth as well.
Now, thank y'all once again for tuning to Barrio Voices. Much love from my corazón onto you. Hopefully y'all doing well. Again, I really appreciate everybody that's been tuning in. Really goes to show how empowered you all are, for sticking through this episode, and finding out what else y'all could do for your communities, and how much more we all are collectively doing for our own gente, you know what I mean? Again, Barrio Voices has a lot of great things coming your way. For example, one of the things we have coming up in the near future is that we have the poetry submissions open, right? So if you want to publish your own poetry, right, we have a magazine that's going to be coming out on April 1st, so for is to go ahead and submit your poems on our own website by March 25th, and we're going to be, again, selecting everybody that wants to be in the contest to actually be part of the contest too. There's two things going on, the magazine and the contest. Everybody that wants to get the poetry published, more than likely they'll be in. But if you want to be in your contest, it's a little more selective, and there's more description about that within our own website. But regardless of that, of it all, right, Barrio Voices is really grateful to be, capturing the beauty within our own barrios, the empowering voices, and so on. So again, muchas gracias for everything. Y'all been in tune to Barrio Voices, where we highlight the voices of our barrios, familias, and communities. This is Velas, and to you all, orale.